Okay, so hi everyone. In this unit, we are going to work with a new tense. This is the present perfect tense. We have already come across this tense in different texts that we have read, and you have already seen it in the reading texts of this unit, but I haven't explained it yet. So we are going to work first with the form of this tense. Okay, first of all, we have this example, which is I have eaten cockroaches several times in my life. As you can see on the line, you can see the subject and the verb that is in the present perfect form. This verb is made up of two different parts. You have, on the one hand, have, and on the other, you have eaten. So, what is the form of the present perfect tense? Okay, regarding the affirmative and all the other forms, the most important thing is that we need two different verbs. On the one hand, we have the auxiliary verb, which is have, and depending on the subject, has. And then we have the past participle form of the verb. And what is the past participle form of the verb? Okay, so it depends on the type of verb that we have. If it is a regular verb, it has the same form as the past simple. So, for example, if you have verb to work, the past participle will be worked. Then, if you have an irregular verb, it could be the third column. If you remember last year, I told you that you didn't have to learn the last column of the irregular verbs because we were just going to work with the past simple form. Okay, so this year we need the third column of irregular verbs, so you have to learn this form for all the verbs that we have been learning last year and this year. Okay, so for example, for verb to eat, the past participle form will be eaten. So it is eat, ate, eaten. Okay? Okay, so regarding the affirmative form of the present perfect, uh, as we always work with verb to work, we will see it how it in the present perfect form. So for I, it will be have worked. For you, have worked. And then for the third person singular, we will have a change to has worked. Then for all the plural forms, we will have worked for all of them. We have worked, you have worked, they have worked. Okay? So as examples, we can have I have never traveled by train or Peter has studied Spanish for 4 years. Regarding this affirmative form, it is also important to see that we can also have a contracted form. So you can have I have worked or you can have I've worked. It is the same for all the other subjects. You've worked, he's worked, she's worked, it's worked, we've worked, you've worked, and they've worked. Okay? So regarding the negative, what do we need? We need not, and we add not to the auxiliary verb, which is have. In this case, and depending on the subject, haven't or hasn't. And then we need again the past participle. So we will have for our subjects, I haven't worked, you haven't worked, he, she, it hasn't worked, we haven't worked, you haven't worked, and they haven't worked. As examples, you can have I haven't seen the film The Hunger Games Mockingjay and my best friend hasn't done her homework. Okay, and then we turn to questions. So, what is important in questions in English? That we have a change in order. So, in this case, it is the auxiliary verb have or has depending on the subject that changes its position. So, it comes to the first position and we change the order between this verb and the subject. So, the resulting structure will be have or has and then the subject and finally the past participle. Of course, this is relating to the basic structure of a present perfect question. Remember that we can also add at the beginning of the sentence or at the beginning of a question, you can add a WH word to make WH questions. So in the case of the first person, it could be have I worked? Have you worked? Has she worked? Have we worked? Have you worked? And have they worked? Again, as I always tell you, verb, subject, verb. You have, you have the subject, and then you have worked. Have you come to school by car? Could be an example. And just like in every single tense that we have seen, we have the option of a short answer. In this case, again, three words. We need yes or no. We need the subject. And then, very important, just the auxiliary verb. So to the question, have you come to school by car? The result for an affirmative answer will be yes, I have. No contractions, please. This is not an option. You can't say yes, I've always told you. And then for the negative answer, it would be no, I haven't. Okay? So this is everything regarding form. And tomorrow we will see uses. Bye bye.